To get to the mixer window, go to View and Mixer. You can resize the mixer by dragging up over here. Currently the mixer is in the Docker. You can see it in the Docker tab down here. You can remove the mixer from the Docker by right-clicking and unticking Dock Mixer in Docker. Now we have the mixer in its own window. What is quite nice is you can resize the mixer window. I like to expand it so that you see tracks on different rows. But whatever you prefer. I just want to change the size of here. Okay, there we go. On the left is the master output. You can change the input-output configuration for the master if you want. For example, if you want your master to go to a different output on your audio device, say you want it to go to output 3 and 4 instead of 1 and 2, just do it right over here. You can set your master to mono if you want to check your signal in mono. I would always suggest this, as some elements can get lost when you switch to mono. So not to sound like a parent, but always check your mixes in mono, kids. You can also change the way the master view meter is displayed. Right-click here and you'll see some further options. See, you got your peak and RMS, or peak only. See, you can display changes, but I'm going to keep it on peak and RMS. Let's talk about the faders. If you drag a fader down and then double-click it, it'll go back to its default setting. If you just want to move the fader with some finer increments, hold down Control on the PC or Command on the Mac, and you'll see you'll get these finer increments when you drag down. Another nice thing is if you hold down Option on the Mac or Control on the PC and drag the fader down. It won't change your initial setting. So for example, let's say your master fader is set here, and you want to check if it'll sound a bit better lower. You can drag down and test it, and then it'll jump right back to its previous settings when you let go. If you click on Effects, this will bring up the Effects tab, if you wish to add some processing to your master track. Let's just close the Effects window there. You also have your Mute, Solo and Trim buttons. Click on your Trim and it'll bring up the envelopes that are available on this track. If you click on this box down here, it'll bring up a dialog box with options on how to view your mixer window. You can remove or add items and functions, just depends how you want it to look like. On the individual tracks, you have the same options. You got your Effects button, your Input-Output button, the Mute, Solo, the Trim. You got your Pan Pod here, and then your Volume fader. Speaking of effects, let's add some to our track. Here's a little quick tip. If you just click here, it brings up the effects window. Let's add some of the Reaper plugins. Let's add the gate over here, and you'll just see that's the little interface of the plugin. Here's another little trick. If you hold down Command while you click on the plugin, it'll have this little left-hand side here, where you can choose to bypass and activate the plugin. If you hold down Shift while you click on it, it'll also bypass the plugins. Let's just enable these plugins again. And you can duplicate plugins by simply just holding on it and dragging it to another track. You'll see that it copies it right there. And you can change the order of plugins by just holding on them and dragging them up or down. Then there is the Track Record Enable button. You'll notice that when you click this, the meter goes red, indicating that the track is record enabled. Here's the Record Monitoring button. You'll want to use this to record monitor yourself. If it's not activated, you won't hear your audio when you want to record it. There are different modes. You'll see that when I click it again, it goes to the Auto Record Monitoring. When you right-click on this button, you'll see further options. For most of the functions in Reaper, if you right-click them, it'll provide you with further options. Check out when you right-click on Mute and Solo. Even further options you would not have even known previously were available. As you work more in Reaper, you'll investigate them more and more to suit your workflow. As we've said, the Insert section is over here, and the Send section is down here. So for example, on this track, I can add a send and send some of its signal to my loop track. Now just close this window, and now you see you have this rotary knob where you can increase the signal of the send. And if you click on the send again, you can just delete it over there. Let's delete this one as well. Delete. Or if you command click on the plugin or control click on the PC, you'll get this view again, and you can just click here to remove the plugins. And now we have no plugins there. Let's talk a bit about this Input Effects button. This will apply effects to your audio signal as it is recorded into Reaper. So say you want to print this delay setting straight to the audio that it's been recorded in. Here it will be recorded straight on, and you see that it doesn't sit here in the insert section. It sits in the Input Effects section. You can easily drag tracks around as well. Select the track, hold down, and drag it to another area. To dock the mixer again in the docker, right-click in the bottom here, and then tick that box again. Next up, we'll talk about adding effects to our tracks.